Well, good morning, everyone. I am so excited to work with you today. So this is going to be different than a tutorial. I'm not going to teach a front to back tutorial. I'm going to teach you my system, and then within 3 heads, I'm going to teach you technique, so that when you can break down a head and then think about technique, you're gonna learn how to step by step yourself through an updo. And I just did a in-person class up near Boston last week, and you know, I always ask who thinks they would want to make this part of their career, and out of 12, 15, 3 people raise their hand. So I understand it's a specialty piece, but I think it's gaining more popularity for sure than it has in the past. And I guess the reputation was there wasn't money in it, but there is money in it, because when I left the salon, I was a salon owner, I was a platform artist, I did a lot of work in magazines. I guess mine will start with some of my bio. This book by My Lady Beauty, which is probably backwards to you, but I don't know. Anyways, this I wrote for the hair industry is the very first bridal business, like how to make a business out of bridal, how to treat your bride special and different. And you know, whether you stay in the salon or the salon becomes has this bridal area, or you go 100% freelance, there's a lot of money to be made, because I can make a week's pay in half of a Saturday. And that was my goal, was to get there. And then I know other people who run teams and they don't even do hair anymore. So if that interests you, then I would consider maybe adding some business classes for yourself down the road as far as managing that. What I want to go over is the Updo system. And the reason why I came up with this system is because I was asked to teach. One of my staff works for Goldwell, and I volunteered at one of her hair shows, and she said, would you finish all the color models? And I'm like, yeah, I love finished work. And so someone in the next room, Paul DeGrigley, he's like, who's doing the finished work? And then he asked me to come teach at his academy. Never taught. and you know, I've been teaching all my life. I started teaching swimming at 14. So this journey of your life just flows. It flows from your inner core into who and what you're meant to be, whether you go into color or management or cutting, or you want to be on magazines, you want to be on platform. There's 1,000 avenues in this field, and it's very exciting. So in order to teach, I had to figure out, well, why do I do things this way? And that's the thing, is that I can teach you to think through your decisions, because 10 clients can bring in the same photo and you'll have 10 different heads of hair to have to reproduce that photo. You can't go and find a tutorial for that exact client. You have to make these on your feet decisions. And that's what's unique about my teaching, is because I've been behind the chair, I've been 100% freelance, and I've done magazine work. So I know all the different avenues that it takes to create. And when you're working with a client, you're dealing with a person going to a wedding, going to a prom, they're getting dressed, the mother of the bride got her nails done. You know, someone spent a lot of money on putting the beautiful garden in the backyard, like a year or 2 ahead of time before the wedding day. There is so much that accumulates anxiety-wise that morning for you, because you're the first person. So after having been to hundreds of weddings, I wrote this book called The Morning of Your Wedding. Now, this is for brides. So if I can show up as the hairdresser that says, hey, yeah, I can do your hair, but you know what? That's just a small percentage of your morning. I need to know who you are. I want to see your dress. I want to hear about all the things. So I call it collecting the adjectives. What are all the descriptive words she's saying to you? And you will find out what kind of a person and mood she's trying to represent. And then you can alter her photo. to say, well, I see the back of your gown has all this beautiful detail. Are you sure you want half up, half down? Because the back is going to be hidden, you know? And then they're like thinking, because they don't think, they don't put it all together. So let's start off with going through the system. And yes, taking notes would be great. I'm going to draw a head, and I'm going to break down the basics. All right, so there's a head. Section 1 is the front. Section 1 is the front. So this is a really great photo to help you see this section. So for her front is fringe. It's left down, okay? Section 2 is always the sides. 2 and 3, the left side and the right side. 2 and 3 and 1. The crown is always 4. And this crown, we've got like a Viking braid, you know, like a popped Viking braid. So that's section 4. And section 5 is always the back. So from here, section 5 is the ponytail. Now you can see section 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 5. So every photo can be broken down. Now, do the sections stay the same? No, as far as the size. Do they stay in the same place? No. You might want to bring the top knot design. So you're going to combine section 5 with section 4. But the issue is it helps your brain to think compartmentalizing, just like you would with a haircut. So here is a drawing and the different colors. So section 1 is yellow. 2 and 3 are pink. And then you can, when you pay attention to where the hair is going, you can almost see it dragged and brought through the updo. Section 4 is blue. And so here's some more 4. So that's the crown. Section 5 is red. And when you break it down, let's look at this one. So section 1 is her fringe. 2 and 3 is the braid. 4 is the crown. And 5 is the back. All right, that makes sense? So here's a head. And what we're going to do is I have my notes for each lady, what we're going to learn. So we're gonna do a beachy look on her, and every head's going to be sectioned the same way. So for her, section 1 is a little slice that'll be waves. So this is going to be waves on her face. So we're going to do every head the same, but one's going to be vintage looking, kind of retro. One's going to be beachy, and one is going to be more boho. They all have the same sectioning, and then you'll see technique in each one. So for this one, section 1 is the front. 2 and 3 are the sides. Here is the other side here. Sometimes I go further in if I want like a half down that has maybe some of, they want a really narrow half down that's more bridally and more pretty. So I might want to steal that, right? And this would go up, and then some of her neck would be showing. And these are, again, adjectives that you want to use. Oh, I want to take a little bit more hair for the front so that we can expose your neck and your beautiful earrings will show. So you are always selling. You're selling the dream. You're selling the vision. And so this way, part of the system is she will like it when you're done because it's incorporated in the whole system. So if you want to learn more about it, go to updosystem.com afterwards. and just read whatever is in the Updo System Champion course. And you'll get it'll solidify what you're learning today. All right, so number 4 is all right. So let's take. Sorry, I'm just losing my hair here. He is not fitting. I got a new. There we go. All right. Trying to get used to my new stand here. All right, so let's first learn how to do beachy waves with a curling iron. I'm going to teach you how to do vintage waves, pin curl waves, and
Gretchen, we've lost your sound. We've lost you. I think you're back on again now.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Brilliant, thank you.
Okay. So what I said was section 1 and all 3 looks. That way we can stay with the 3 heads and get the 3 different feels for the technique. So for this one, section 1 is just a very small and we're going to just go in with a beachy wave. So some of you use your flat one, that's fine. Curling iron is important for some of the other looks. So I'm going to start mid shaft, and I'm going to wrap so that there's space. There's space on my wand, and that's going to create more of a beachy feel. And I want to let it cool. You have to let it cool. I see people running their fingers through it too soon. That's when your looks get frizzy and your wave doesn't have a crispness to it. We will loosen this up later. But it's important that the hair bonds will cool. So water and heat are the only thing that adjust the hair and changes the bonds, which you guys probably already know. I'm going to go in with another small slice. Going to work up the head, but with space. And you'll see the difference in some of the other ways that the other styles are curled. And a wave that's here, okay? It's going to be sexy and soft down here. A perfect beachy look. It doesn't mean you don't have to work as hard. It doesn't mean it's easier. It's to make it look elegant yet casual is almost not an easy feat. And we're going to do a more boho, or even maybe this could be more of a glam wave. Everybody's got different thoughts and ideas of what they call things. So again, we have section 1, which is going to be a wave down her face. 2 and 3 is the size. Now in section 5, I already put her in hot rollers, and I'll show you that technique. We're going to do a twist and wrap. This is going to create more of a wave with a ridge. coiled and wrapped. And this is going to create a more of a ridge wave. You want it to fall into your hands. And you can see how it's twisted and wrapped. And then again, you always want it to cool. If you're doing an updo, that's going to have a wave section that you want to stay in nicely. You're going to have your sections, and you're going to want to do that first. So again, I'm going to go in, twist, wrap, twist, wrap, twist, wrap. And it's good. I was working again with the school on Wednesday, and you have to feel the hair. You have to feel the heat come through. One of the girls' iron was not hot enough, and she wasn't, taught to test the heat. And so that's very important. Sometimes you think you've made a mistake or you're doing something wrong because your curls aren't lasting. And it's just a matter that your iron might not be hot enough. Every natural kind of hair has a different base. Everyone's using the different chemicals in their hair at home, or where we are, we have well water, and then someone else doesn't have well water. So it is a changing field, and you have to be able to shift and adapt, and you have to protect your self-esteem, and you have to kind of protect your self-talk, and you have to be willing to adapt. There's no right or wrong, guys, okay? So now section 1 on this head, we did the twist and wrap, and you'll see that come out. Now we're going to do, this is going to be more of a vintage classic style. Of course, I put hers on the other side just to try to break things up a little bit. Section 3, okay, section 4, section 5. So for her, I'm going to do a classic roll. I'm going to go mid shaft. Now, again, when I was working with one of the young girls, started her curls from the bottom and rolled it up. That made a very tight curl in the bottom and very flat in the crown. When you look at like a little girl, that's the way her hair is, and that's the look you get. So when you want a wave that maybe has pop or tightness up here, come up higher, and that's why you work your way down. So I want a wave that's going to come down the side. I'm going to come up and roll, and I'm going flat now. I'm not twisting. You can see I'm going flat. And sometimes you just might want to have a class on experimenting on different kinds of curls you can get with a curling iron. So this is flat, and it's going to create as if you put 3 rollers in here. That's what we're going. So now we're going to move on to section 4. What we want to create is some texture in here. And if you only just add hair, pin, add hair, you're going to have a very flat crown. So the system is going to teach you how to have more pop. And that's going to make your looks more high end. I always make my sections really clean, because if I start working here and I don't pin this off, all this hair is going to lift and get in my way. And that's why I make it look so easy. Well, I always follow my system, so I don't look frustrated. And it's just because I, follow the system. Okay, so here we have the crown. Now, very popular is the flip through with the ponytail. Let's experiment, and I experimented last night. You can flip under or you can flip over. And so let me show you the difference. A ponytail lets you to do a little bit more pinching and pulling on an elastic that allows you to slide, okay? Easier to do. We do that. So that flips through, and then a lot of people pinch and pull here. Okay, and what it does, which I'm not a huge fan of, is it always creates a hole. So I'm going to flip it the other way. So I'm going to flip it under. And that's going to create a different look. And then we'll move on from there. Okay, so you get more pop when you go under. And you get more togetherness in the center. And by keeping this loose, and I just dragged it down, so we lost our, ponytail. But if you want to do a high pop ponytail, that's what you would do, is you would flip it the other way. You would flip it under, not over, like through. So now I'm going to pinch in here. Don't be afraid when you are learning. Test yourself. Test, be curious. Don't be intimidated to pull. You could always put in a ponytail again. Like, push the boundaries. You don't want to push the boundaries with a paying client. You want to push the boundaries now while you're in school. So trying things, okay? Now I'm going to just take you literally are just pinching. And if you want to come out, you pinch out. If you want to go wide, you pinch wide. But you have to hang on, because you can feel the hair is going to come up from the ponytail. So I'm going for some nice softness here. She's going to be our beachy bride. So I'm going to go really, really loose on her. We want a lot of movement. Now I'm going to move up to here. I'm just going to continue to pinch and pull. Pinching and pulling. Remember, this is our beachy bride. A lot of beautiful texture. See that? Hanging on. This helps you have control. Because if you're this way and your whole piece is wobbling, you'll be intimidated. So hang on. You can create spaces just by moving over a little bit so that you're creating divots. This helps with dimension. It helps with photography. We still have 2 and 3 to bring back. And so you want to just kind of check your fullness, check what's going on. You really want to just keep going until you are full and luscious and you're taking your time. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I like how that works. I like that. And you can spray, like right here I would spray. All right, so there's the crown on the beachy head. 5 is in hot rollers, and I'll show you that later. And so now we're gonna do a French braid up here. Now, I always like to give a little bit extra and as much movement as I can. So I'm gonna do 2 French braids. And I'm going to kind of split it with her parting. All right, so I'm gonna go in this crown and just do a basic French braid. I don't want a Dutch. I don't want a Viking look. I don't want it standing up. I want an over braid. Because for this area, we're doing texture, not so much braid. All right, so there's a couple of braids. And what we're going for a lot of volume. Again, don't be afraid to pinch and pull. It doesn't matter, but hold on. Is going to from the bottom. You want to pinch out. And I watched a young girl in my class the other day, and she was going like this. That doesn't do anything. You go here, and then you go here, and then it just doesn't make things stay. What? You want to hang on. And hang on and go side to side. It's almost like you're going like this and pulling. You're going pull, pull, pull. You get to the end and you pull. Okay? All right, so this is going to create a lot of movement. I could pin this right here and have all that juicy movement. Remember, experiment when you're in school. Don't be afraid. There's no right or wrong. It's not a tutorial that you have to get perfect. We're just going for fullness, volume. So now we have 2 beautiful braids in this crown. And I'm looking at what's happening up here. I'm looking from the front. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to crisscross. All right? What would happen if I fed it through? What would happen? What would happen if I fed it through? Okay, so now I've fed it through. I'm just going to push And I'm gonna bobby pin right there. You always have to cross your bobby pins. A single bobby pin on a head is too slippery. And you want to pin right under your finger. And this little bead is going to go right under my finger, and the other half of the bobby pin is going along the head and locking with the other one. So now in this crown, we've got some pretty movement. Okay, so there's that section 4. So here's our section 4. Now you can see that this section 4 is bigger. All right, it really encompasses the whole, because we're going to do a kind of a vintage look. And I want that crown to have a little bit more pop to it, okay? So before I move on, I'm just gonna take section 5. Now at section 5, I'm gonna jump ahead just slightly right here. Section 5, I'm gonna have it flip up. So I did one already. I'm just gonna come in with this one. I'm just gonna flip that up. Okay, so section 5, just gonna get that out of my way. And now we're gonna do section 4. We're gonna do a little bit of crown teasing. I'm gonna section off a veil. So when you have teasing, I see a lot of people want to somehow, you know, I leave a clean veil so that can go right over everything. You could crimp in here with a small crimper. Just do a few rows of crimping in the middle. I'm not going to do that right now, just for time. I'm just going to go right in with teasing. I didn't have crimpers when I learned, so I mean, I do use them. You could spray, and I'm going to go right in, whether you use a teasing comb or a teasing brush, but I'm starting low. Too many times people start here and you get teasing too high up. Push, push. And you want it to, we're just creating a small cushion right in the middle. So not going all the way across. I want it flat. Just think about those 60s looks where they're flat on the side and they're high in the middle. In the crown, I'm just smoothing with the edge of the brush. I don't want to take these out. So we're going back to our beachy. Going to bend to the end of section 4. This is our crown. All right, so that's section 4, section 5. Let's put this one together. Okay. I'm going to keep it really simple on the side. So section 2 and 3, the sides. I'm going to just do a twist. Just do a twist. I'm not coiling, twisting. I'm just doing it, just twisting. I'm gonna hold it. And I'm gonna pin. All right, 2 and 3 are coming across. There's the elastic. Gonna flip it and tunnel pin it right over the black elastic. And so what you're seeing, guys, is a half up look, but it's way more interesting than all the ones that are just braids and brought back. When you can take her photo as inspiration and you can talk her into something that's a little bit different, she's going to feel like you took a little extra. So far, we've only used 2 bobby pins in this look. Now, again, just coming back to my center. There's already the ponytail in there. There's already two other bobby pins in there. And those are the little ends. I mean, even when I'm doing just the mannequin head, I always do it like it's a real bride because I just felt her braid slip. All right, cool. So she is our Beachy. Now let's just tweak and look at her. This section and this section to kiss. I always call it kissing. So that there's not space in there. And just popping that up a little bit higher. And so now let's comb out her Beachy Wave. So here's our Beachy head. So she's done. And then we will comb out our boho look. And then I'll photograph these as well and send them over to Ann and Karen. Section 5. I'm gonna let that down right now. And this will come together really quick. So they go off and they just hang out and then you pull them back in. Combing out. So this was done with the same technique here. Wrap and twist, wrap and twist. Three rows and slices across. You go mid shaft, just like the curling iron. Twist and wrap, twist and wrap, twist and wrap. And then you kind of want to make sure the tails. And that's that. So that's the whole back. So that's the first thing I did. So when we go to comb out, this is done. I'm not going to spend 20 more minutes curling her back with a curling iron. Okay? These are all time-saving tricks. So now we have these beautiful waves in section 5. Comb them out and they would form into waves. You could glam this up if you wanted to. So let's bring back section 2 and 3. standing. I want to make sure that my body is standing in the position and the direction that I want to go. So now let's pull on the fishtail. And tiny little pinches here. I'm hanging on to the bottom. You can get this as big and full as you want it to. And sometimes they get like they're falling apart, and if you just kind of do that, you're going to tighten it up again, and then you can pinch more, and you'll get that nice tight seam in the middle. Just keep going back and forth. Now for this one, we're not pinching in the center like we did up here. We're just going through it. And you can feel it. You feel it going through your fingers. Pop the ends off and just let that go. Going to pin the elastic and kind of a couple of the braids together. All right, so let's let down. Again, we talked about what happens here, right? And your mannequin heads aren't as dense as a real person. So if you find that you're getting hair here that you're getting seams or whatever, just play around. Just maybe move this up. You can put a bobby pin in it. Like you can go from behind and just follow the braid. Okay, and then we have our curls that we did in section 1. And again, you can decide, do you want to leave all of this down, or you can feed some of it back. That'll be between you and the client. Sometimes they have a clip or something, you want to kind of find out how and what they might like. And then if she says, oh, that feels like a little too much on my face, no problem. Let's see how much you're comfortable with. Maybe we can pull some of this back and maybe has that. Oh, okay, that's better. And then maybe we're gonna dip this back into the braid. So clients, you've got to go with what your client is thinking and saying and showing you. If they have a face or whatever, always invite them to communicate. Don't ever fear you screwed up. You're not doing anything wrong. Always be willing to adapt. Client has to feel comfortable and you want to be professional. We did the fishtail on this side. Here's our fishtail. We did the double braid in that crown and the hot rollers. You can see now how to build your design from the sections. There's an elastic. There's the ends of the fishtail. Right there's the end of the fishtail. There's 4 ends of the fishtail. Gonna come through. There's the fishtail. Gonna go flip that in, flip that in, flip that in. And you can see, because I always make the promise, when you learn the Updo system, you'll have looser updos with less bobby pins. Let's see what happens when we let these curls down. So you can see how just a curling iron, three rows of curling iron. More glamorous. We learned technique. So for here we did roll over, roll over, roll, and smooth. We did a crown in section 4. 2 and 3 just came back. Section 5 just was a simple flip because she's an undercut with no layers. And when you saw the red one, and then our Beachy Look was the iron here in the center, a flip the opposite way, not over.